What's going on, everyone? Hunter, Sherb, and Kate back here for another edition of the Age Group Online Qualifier 2020. Today, Sunday, we are tackling event number 3. Again, we've provided kind of a recommended schedule in video number 1, what we shot the other day. Be sure to go back, check that out to see what our kind of recommendation is. You can also find that on the Misfit Athletics website on the Age Group tab. But today, we're going through event number 3, 100 alternating dumbbell snatches, 50 calorie row, and then 100 bar facing burpees 4 times with a 20-minute cap. Hopefully, I'm guessing you guys are not gonna need that. Bless play. Hopefully. Some just initial thoughts from the coaching staff. I think opening up with a slightly larger set of dumbbell snatches isn't a bad thing, but I would not probably take it as an unbroken challenge. Sure.
Why not? I want to do 100 in a row?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Realistically, the way I look at the first part of the workout, you don't win the workout by going hard in the first part, but you certainly can lose it. So I'm thinking for the dumbbell snatch, move quickly, move efficiently, but it starts to be labored. There's nothing wrong with putting the dumbbell down, taking a quick breath to reset and pick it back up. Because for me, once you get the dumbbell snatch, you gotta be steady on that rower, and then the burpees come up, and if you are already gassed, those burpees turn into a slog, 5, 6, 7 seconds a rep where you're standing up, feeling sorry for yourself and then jumping over. It's an easy spot to lose a lot of time. So yeah, I think the strategy in a dumbbell snatch early on, take a good bite, but don't take more than you can swallow. If you do too much too soon, you're gonna screw yourself for the rest of the workout.
And the cat in the row isn't excessively long, obviously gonna be the shortest part of the workout. So makes sense to maybe use the first, if you do overextend yourself on the dumbbell snatch, use the first few calories to kind of catch your breath a little bit.
Yeah, you can use the first 10 to 15 to catch your breath and then kind of ramp back up. I mean, the way I look at this row, this big chunk of rung in the middle of it is exactly that. I'm gonna catch my breath and then ramp back up, and then I get to like 40 or 45 calories, maybe ramp back down, so when you get off the rower, you can go right to the barbell. You start with a nice steady cadence on your burpees.
Yep. So Kate, a little bit more of like an engine, consistent movement athlete. You're really well suited to do this workout. Are you going to open up with a big set on the dumbbell, or are you going to break it up a little bit sooner?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to open up with a big set and get a big chunk out of the way. Allow myself to have my breath ready for the cal row, but definitely not pace it too much. But also not sprint it, so that I'm still able to keep a steady pace on my burpees and not stop moving.
Cool. All right. Event 3 coming at you. We'll be back after for some breakdown.
Woo!
doing CrossFit here.
Oh yeah. He gets a no rep, it has to be the entire rep gets redone. That's it. 5 reps on 8. Ready to go.
All right, so that was age group online qualifier event number 3, 100 dumbbell snatches, 50 calorie row, 50 bar facing burpees.
100 bar facing burpees.
What did I say?
50.
Yeah.
I got you, bro.
That's how
I wish
long
it was.
took you to
Yeah.
get 50. Kate came in a little under 14 at the 1349. Sure was just a little over 14. Two kind of different, I would say definitely different types of athletes. Both of you ended up going unbroken on the dumbbell despite thinking you might want to break it up early. Initial thoughts on that? Is that the right play? Like,
I honestly, it goes back to knowing yourself. Like, at no point during the dumbbell snatch did I feel like I was really laboring. And like one thing we talk about a lot of times when we have dumbbell in the skill work is learning how to breathe as you move. We've talked about that concept a bunch of times on the Misfit Athletics, but we want to be able to move through the dumbbell and stay calm. So if at any point I noticed my heart rate was going to jack up or I felt like I was moving funny, I definitely would have put it down. And I kept telling myself, I got to 50, plan was originally 50, got to 50, felt okay. I got to 10 more, got to 60, felt okay. Got to 70, still feel okay. And at that point I was like, it's 30 reps, and if at any point I need a quick breather, I'll put it down. But like, I was able to stay moving smooth. Again, it did affect my rowing pace a little bit, but I really didn't think it changed that much to the point where I was like, man, that was a really poor strategy.
And you probably wouldn't have, if you had put the dumbbell down at some point, you probably wouldn't have averaged all that much faster on the row.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
a tiny
Chris
bit.
said I was 30 through the 100 dumbbell snatch, like maybe giving myself 15, 20 more seconds. Maybe I could have pulled a little bit harder in the rower, but like counting pennies, I really do think the workout all comes down to that final.
Yeah,
that
but
final
then that
movement.
might have hurt you on the
Correct.
burpees, which is not a movement that you're super
Not
excited
great
to
at.
do about. So,
Not even a little bit.
Kate, you are kind of different in the sense that, like, okay, your muscle endurance is insane, your engine's insane, but that dumbbell might start to get heavy at some point, but you also went unbroken, muscle snatched most of it, switched to a power snatch. Would you have done the same thing again, or?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like Sherb said, I wasn't labored at all while I was doing the snatches, so I didn't feel like I was jacking my heart rate up too much. But in the middle of it, Hunter gave me a good cue saying that I was getting a little inefficient with just muscle snatching it, so I definitely recommend moving to a power snatch if you feel like it's slowing you down too much. Not that the weight's heavy, but it'll just keep your heart rate down and keep everything efficient for the rest of the workout, which really makes a difference.
Yeah, so that like super long pull where it's like, oh, this last little bit's tough, just pull yourself under it a
Yeah.
little bit if you can
Yeah.
control your breathing, and,
Yeah.
and you guys both did that fine. So,
Yep.
like you said, you were in like mid 1300s for the row. You were just over
1200s.
mid 1200s, sorry. Kate, you were a little over 1,000, dropped below for a couple strokes toward the end to get ready for burpees, but any tips for that row?
I
Is
mean,
it
unless
just
you're
kinda do it?
drastically going to change your pace on the rower by breaking up the dumbbell snatch, it's the only way it makes sense. I mean, we've seen those Concept 2 every year puts out that chart that says if you row at this many calories per hour,
Yeah.
you get this many calories in this many seconds. Like, we're only talking about a handful of seconds here, which is the same as coming up from your burpees, take an extra breath, and then going back into your next rep. So like, realistically, you have to know what pace you can hold on that. Like I said to Chris afterwards, I wish I had held a little bit faster, but I really don't feel like the dumbbell snatch made the huge difference. It's just fitness. Like, do you have the fitness, the requisite fitness to stay at a certain pace? Like, you should have an experience now that you know what you can hold on that, because again, it comes back to that final movement.
Yep.
Yeah.
And go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with that. I could definitely have rowed at a faster pace, but then I feel like going into the burpees, I would have been a lot more labored, and knowing that I have 100 burpees ahead of me, I didn't think it would make that much of a difference. Like Sherb said, it's only a few seconds to pull like even 200 higher on the rower.
So for those burpees, I wrote down kind of every 10 reps. You were pretty consistent at about 40 seconds per 10 reps. Like your burpee pace basically doesn't change. Even like after you start to get tired, your choice is to like stop, take your breath, and then pick up basically the same burpee pace. And then you picked it up the last like 15 to 20 reps. Is that, was there any like footwork stuff? Did you guys step up on pretty much everything? Obviously you can step up, step back, but you have to 2-foot takeoff.
I think this goes back to all the weakness warms we do. I mean, you have this opportunity to practice, this steady cadence you need for something like this. I got to be able to repeat this movement over and over again, knowing that I'm going to be doing burpees I planned on like 8 minutes, which is almost exactly what it took me to do the burpees. I'm going to average somewhere between 12 and 14 burpees a minute. That's going to carry me through all of these. So I stepped for, I don't know, 85 of the 100, because I knew that would keep my heart rate lower and allow me to stay moving. You might have saw Kate, she stayed a little bit lower in her burpees, a little bit faster in the reps, but then she took a couple pauses to catch her breath, which, you know, you trade each strategy. It's like, what's your strength? Hers was short burst, little rest, short burst, little rest. I mean, and me, it was just try to go steady until you see the light at the end of the tunnel and then push. But for me, it's just, can you find a way to stay moving the entire time? Because that is a time warp. It didn't feel like 8 minutes, but it certainly was.
Yeah.
Yep. And I actually said as soon as we finished, wow, this is a flashback to the weakness warm-up we did on Saturday. I guess it's just finding that pace that you're comfortable with. And I, like Sherb said, I took pauses because I knew that if I jacked my heart rate up too much and started breathing too heavy, then I would have slowed down way too much on the burpees. So
one question on the row, did either of you guys kind of change how you were pulling? So obviously pretty like posterior chain intensive movement in the dumbbell snatch. You can go kind of quad and or hamstring on the rower, but then you've got probably something that's more quad dominant in the burpee. Any suggestions for athletes on that? Because it's probably kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
This is a really, like, even though it's not a super heavy dumbbell, it's a power-based movement, which means you're getting a lot of effort every single one. So for me, I naturally row at a higher stroke cadence than most people do. So I kept my stroke rate somewhere between like 31 and like 33, because I knew that would allow me to just kind of flush and move at the same time. We always talk about like how beneficial it is to do the C2 bike at like a 85 to 90 RPM, because you teach your body how to flush your legs out. That's kind of what I was thinking about when I was rowing. It's like, I'll do a little bit higher stroke rate, even though maybe I won't pull as hard each one, but it'll allow me to keep my heart rate lower, flush my legs out, and hopefully allow me to get over that burpee and start moving at a decent pace.
Okay. Last thoughts. Would you recommend, so I feel like after seeing you guys do it, anybody who's really trying to get into that top 10, it has to be unbroken, and it has to be unbroken with the dumbbell, and it has to be a consistent burpee. Do you think there's room for somebody to break up that dumbbell as long as they're disciplined about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're smart about it,
it just comes down to the burpee pace.
You consider breaking this up to push a little bit harder there. Like, try to be a little bit more relaxed in the front half of the workout, to be a little bit more disciplined and faster moving in the back half, because like, I really don't think that breaking the dumbbell up 2 or 3 times would add a lot of time to here. And, you know, second guessing, maybe that would allow me to go a little bit faster here. Or, you know, that final kick you have at, I think yours is probably at 20, mine was at 15. Maybe it's at 25 or 30, you can put that final kick down because you know you're almost done, and because you haven't overextended yourself in the front half, you can push a little bit harder in the back half. Right. So, yeah.
Again, I think it's just playing to your strengths where you know that you're the strongest. I would keep that consistent, knowing that if you're weak on the burpees, then maybe change your strategy up. So again, just know yourself.
Cool.
What are your thoughts on times?
Times?
What do you think after having watched it?
I think we'll see some folks in the 12s for sure.
Oh yeah, I think low 12 maybe?
Yep. Yeah, I think low 12s is reasonable. I don't know how much faster people can go on those snatches. You took what, 3.5 minutes?
Yeah, like 3.5.
About a little over 25 reps a minute. You were like 409. The row, like we said, it's short enough that it's probably any time you gain on the row, you might lose on the burpees. So
and basically the first 2 movements like 6 minutes, and the third movement maybe 6 minutes. And again, that's how we're getting that low 12 prediction. But like, that's realistically what I think people will come in at towards the the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah. So all right, that's it. Event number 3. Make sure you check back. We'll be coming at you with the remaining events over the course of the weekend. Head to the Misfit Athletics YouTube channel and misfitathletics.com for that schedule, as well as primers and how to kind of warm up for these workouts. These guys did a little bit longer of a warm up, seemed to pay off. Definitely. Recommend you guys do the same. Check back. We'll be back soon.